What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the NBA to the Galaxy podcast, featuring your host, my man to the right of me, Slim. You can find him on X at RTR30111. And myself, you can call me Scotty. You can find me at Scotty Drown on X and TikTok as well. And of course, if you haven't followed the pod yet, be sure to follow the pod on X and TikTok at To The Galaxy Pod. That's on X and TikTok at To The Galaxy Pod. And of course, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, help us grow there. Help us start making some money. And then we can start bringing this content to you daily. I mean, shit, I'll get on here every day if I start getting paid to do it. I do it for fun right now. We do it for fun. We're not getting paid for this. We're not begging to be paid either. We just want more and more support. We want more of you in the chat. So we can have more fun talking hoops with you. Yeah. But Slim, happy Friday. Tell the show how you're doing today, my man.
Man, I'm doing good, man. I just left a long grinding hoop session, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Probably can look at my eyes and just tell that I'm kind of fatigued. But hey, man, I made it to the pod, so that all that matters. But yes, yeah, sir. Man, Scotty, he made some good points there, man. You know, tap in with the pod, man. You know, we really appreciate it. As well as, like he said, like tap in with the comments or whatever. Because every time I look around, there's always just one particular fella. You know, he's always in the comment section. And he goes by the name of D-Rab. And when he sees this, you know, no love lost. But, you know, it's okay to let others get some of that shine too, my brother. You ain't got to always be in the comment section. So, in saying that, tap in sometime with us. Let us know how you guys feel. But nonetheless, man, I'm doing good on this great Friday, bro.
I love to hear that. Shout out D-Rab. Obviously always here to support. We got other guys like Martian that taps in every once in a while. But yeah, we just want to consistently talk hoops. Obviously, we're going to talk them on here, but we love the viewers. We love the commenters. Let's start at the top, man, because we do got some topics. I guess I should list them out here before we get into them. We're going to talk about the all-defensive first and second teams that were announced yesterday. We'll get into the MVP award winner, which will ultimately lead us into our conversation regarding the game that took place last night, Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. And then we'll get into that Eastern Conference Finals matchup to kind of round out the show. We'll talk about the Game 1 and then ultimately what's going to go down tonight in Game 2. With all that being said, man, let's start at the top with the defensive teams.
Get it.
A lot of young guys. I'll start with the second team. I'm going to list them off for us here, all right?
Okay.
So we got Rudy Gobert. He's a mainstay. He's been here before. This one was interesting. And I'm not even going to lie to the viewers. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not familiar with Kamara's game like this. So this one was interesting to me. It's something I'm going to pay attention to moving forward. Is it Tumani Kamara?
Yeah.
Tumani Kamara from Portland. First time appearance on the all-defensive second team here. I believe is he a rookie or is he second year?
I think next season will be like his third year. Yeah.
Okay. So this is second going on third year for him. So that's somebody I got to pay more attention to personally out there in Portland. We got J-Dub from the Oklahoma City Thunder making his first appearance on the all-defensive second team as well. Jaren Jackson Jr., obviously from the Memphis Grizzlies. He's a return visit to the all-defensive team. And then Zubac from the LA Clippers, man. Yeah, I was happy to see him get some recognition there, man. He deserves that. He had a hell of a season. He gets his first appearance on the all-defensive second team. So just with the second team so far, Slim, any thoughts around any of these first-timers or maybe some of the mainstays here? I see you laughing. You got something to say.
Oh, yeah, I definitely got something to say. But no, bro, like, Kamara, bro, I'm glad he made it because, like you say, you're not familiar with this game. But, bro, this dude, he's a great defender. Like, it's just the little things he does, like the little tangibles on the defensive side of things. Like, he's so, well, fundamentally sound. Like, how can I say it? He's disciplined. Let's put it like that. Like, he don't really just
it's impressive.
Get into foul trouble a ton. He's just a solid overall defender. So he's very deserving of this. Like Zubac, my guy Zubac as well. Glad he made it. Like you said, he had one heck of a season. Jaren Jackson Jr., like you say, pretty familiar with this. I ain't mad at it. I will say this though, J-Dub making this team, I was definitely shocked. Like that's no even knock on him, like from a defensive side of
Yeah,
things. It's just that when you look around the league, man, look at a guy like Chris Dunn though. Why he couldn't be on this list? He had
it's
one heck
fair.
of a season defensively. Like
That's
to me,
fair.
J-Dub is more so like an offensive oriented player. He can scrap up on the defense side of things. So like I said, I'm not trying to take nothing away from him. But yeah, kudos to J Dub. And last but not least, Mr. Gobert. You know, I know Rudy receives a lot of criticism and whatever, and rightfully so, but you know, he does anchor that Minnesota defense. I give that to him, but I just feel like maybe somebody else is more deserving of that. The reason I say so because you got three bigs on the second team. When we like in a wing orientated league now,
Yeah,
you know, like they starting to bring
very
it
good
back
point.
like the traditional bigs and stuff like double bigs lineup and stuff. But it's like most of the offense comes on the wing, bro. They got like
Yeah.
Tatum, Anthony Edwards, Pascal Siakam, Brunson, Halliburton. You know, the list goes on and on, all these scores. So overall, though, I think it's a solid list. It definitely could have been better, though, for sure. I would have loved to see my guy Chris Dunn make the list.
I do feel you on that, and I will say, like with Rudy Gobert specifically,
Hmm.
I'm not trying to diminish his impact defensively, but it almost just feels like a bailout. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
just like he gets thrown
absolutely.
in there just like
Right,
automatically almost. Like
right.
what did he really do this season to stick out of the pack defensively? Minnesota, they were a great defensive team. I guess you can't take that away from them. But it's just it is wild to me, and I know the postseason is never included in these discussions. It's wild to me that a defensive like player of the year candidate, an all defensive team member, could ultimately not play in the crucial moments of postseason basketball. And I say this because we sit here and we watch the Knicks. They don't have these issues getting Mitchell Robinson into the end of games. They switch him
Right.
on and off with Cat. Like they
Uh-huh.
maneuver and they get Mitchell Robinson involved. He's a great defensive presence in that paint, and he doesn't have to be exiled from the postseason. They were doing hack a Mitch,
Yeah.
and he doesn't get exiled from the rotation. But Rudy Gobert gets played off the court, and that's just it's wild to me. Maybe it's not a fair evaluation to go off like the postseason, but
Yeah, but
to your
why
point, I
not,
do
though?
think
Like,
there. You can't tell me there isn't another center that was impactful defensively out there that you could have thrown on.
that exactly that too, and then also you can make the argument maybe Jaden McDaniels are more deserving than Rudy.
That's a that's a great. I mean, that's a great pick off the top of my head. I mean, that alone right there. You know what he does for Minnesota. You see it in this series. He's the one that has to be tasked with guarding
Yeah, he guards the best
SGA.
player every series. So
So it is interesting. Yeah, Gobert and Zubac. That is a great point, honestly. Because like you just would not have a squad. Yeah, whatever. I won't get into position. Uh, first
yeah,
team. First team we had Amin Thompson from Houston. We know what he can do. Defense. He can do everything in reality. But yes,
I ain't
very
mad at
great
that.
on the defensive side of things. Your man's Draymond Green, a return participant in the All NBA first team defense. Well deserved. I mean, he leads that defensive unit for Golden State. I mean, you're able to play small ball lineups with it. He does a lot for that defense. Lou Dort from OKC,
Hmm.
which once again I think deserved. Dyson Daniels from Atlanta, and then Evan Mobley from the Cleveland Cavaliers. What are your thoughts on the first team there, man?
To be honest, bro, I don't have no problems with that. I feel like all those guys were very deserving of this. Amen. Thompson had one heck of a season, not even on the defensive side of things, as well as on the offense
Yeah,
side of things. But defensively, he's just so well poised. He can switch and guard multiple positions. So uh, kudos to him. I have a problem with that. Evan Mobley, Defense Player of the Year. You know that kind of speaks for itself right there.
yeah,
Not diving to it. My guy Draymond. Well, I won't say my guy, but Draymond. Anchoring our defense, us going small. Just doing the little things that translate to winning. So, for him to be at this age and still holding it down, bro, you got to commend him on that. So, Lou Dort, one heck of a season defensively. He's Defense Player of the Year candidate. So that kind of speaks for itself. I
yep,
have a problem with that. And as well as Dyson Daniels, man, I think he led the league in steals as
yeah,
well as deflections. and all that. So speaks for itself. So I don't have a problem with this list at all, man. All these guys are great individual defenders as well as team defenders. So when you put it all together, it makes sense. So, and I will say this: I'm glad that the NBA did this like positions list. I mean, position list, like you know, not traditional point guard, shooting guard, small
Yeah,
forward. It's just kind of that's how it is with the second team. They got three bigs over there, so
yeah.
so yeah.
That's a good point. The second team kind of balances out the first team because you look on the first team. I guess you could put you could put Draymond at the 5. You could put Mobley at the 5 if you want to, but I feel like in reality they're not your typical prototypical centers. But you do have 2 centers on the second team, and then also a power forward that can play a little bit of center in Triple J. So I feel you. It does kind of balance out. To your point about Dyson Daniels, he led the league in steals by like a mile. he averaged 3 steals per game. The next person was Jokic, and then Cason Wallace with 1.8 steals per game each. And then your man Chris Dunn. Your man Chris Dunn.
Yeah, shout out Chris Dunn, man. I wish you would have made it, but
it is interesting. It's interesting. Nonetheless, I think the first team, especially, I'm really comfortable with. I think when you look across those teams, to your point, those are all of those teams' number one defensive presence, whether that's individually guarding or a presence in the paint like Evan Mobley. Yeah, I do like the first team. Let's take it over to the MVP convo, man. SGA. He comes away with it. I know we disclosed our MVP picks to each other before it was actually announced. I know I had SGA. You had
SGA.
You had SGA as well. So we both agree with the pick. I do think at the end of the day, there is a conversation to be had around Jokic and his standing in the MVP combos. But I'll throw it to you first, man. You want to give SGA his flowers? Obviously, we both agree here. Think he's deserving. Why did you pick SGA for MVP?
Well, I just felt like honestly last year he was my pick, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like for him to lead OKC 2 years in a row to the number 1 seed, that just kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And a loaded Western Conference to be exact, it's not easy, bro. So for him to do that, pretty much with a bunch of young guys on that team, it just speaks of his character, just the way he go about his business and whatnot, off and on the court. So when you put all it together as well as his game, he averaged like what 30, 33, maybe 32 last year. And he followed it up this year, averaging 32. So I just felt like it was time, no disrespect to Jokic, because Jokic has been putting up some crazy numbers, this year and last year. So it was definitely a toss-up for sure. It just wasn't a clear-cut favorite. But I just felt like you have to reward SGA, bro. Like, he's doing all the right things. As much as people talk about him, with the foul baiting stuff, he's still the most valuable player in the league, in my opinion. Like, you take him off that team, the Thunder, they probably be good, but not elite. And he makes that team elite. He's like the ultimate piece. And man, he shot 51% from the field, career high 37% from 3-point range, 89% from the free throw line. He led the league in free throws made, a personal best 163 3-pointers made, 6 to 8 more threes than his previous career high, which was 95 set last season. And him and Michael Jordan are the only players in NBA history to average at least 32 points, 6 assists, and shoot 50% or better from the field in the season. So that just kind of speaks volume for itself, as well as like on the defensive side of things too. Like SGA, he's solid. Like he averaged 1.5 steals and a block a game. He ranked 5th in steals. And overall, the Oklahoma City Thunder led the league in a defensive rating with 106.6. So man, it's just when you put all that together, I think it just makes sense for him to be an MVP. Obviously all-star. I'm pretty sure he's going to be all NBA first team without a doubt. So I just feel like he was very deserving of this, bro, for sure.
Yeah, I do agree. When you look at, if you want to put it into simple terms, he was the best player on the best team. That usually means MVP. When you throw in all the other statistics that you mentioned, I think it makes it kind of clear. I don't want to disrespect Jokic in the season he had, but
Yeah, for sure.
it kind of just makes it clear. And I think the big thing for me as well is games played, man. He played in 76 out of 82 games, which is just something that you don't see very often in this day and age, this load management NBA. He didn't participate in load management. He missed a total of 6 games this season, which is just incredible for him to end up at the numbers that he ends up at. To your point, the last 3 seasons, he's averaged 30-plus points per game. So it is kind of due time. We've watched this Oklahoma City Thunder team grow, led by SGA. They have reached the pinnacle, the best part of their team this season. So I think it's only right that SGA comes away with the award. And I think that goes along with history as well. When you look back on some of the other MVPs across the league, there were arguments other years that Jokic had the best numbers, right? Like it just, maybe there is a little bit of fatigue, but he also, you look at Jokic, he was hosting the 4th best team in the West. SGA is hosting the number 1 team in the NBA, not just the West. So I think when you look at it from that perspective, the argument becomes, is that the right way to decide MVP rather than is SGA the MVP? SGA is the MVP, in my opinion, based on what we've measured it by in the past. But I think there is a discussion. Jokic, 29.6 points per game, 13 rebounds a game, basically 10 assists per game, 58, 42, 80 shooting splits. Yeah. That's a dominant. Those are dominant numbers. He's the 4th seed in the West, 50 win team with Denver. I think we both would agree OKC has a better squad around SGA, but once again, SGA on the best team, the best player, and the numbers aren't that far off, right? Like it'd be one thing if SGA's averaging 25, 6 and 5. No, he's averaging 32, 33 points per game along with the 6 and 5. And ultimately, I think he does deserve it, man. But I do understand the argument against it. I do.
Yeah, for sure. I also say this to kind of close it out on my end. SGA becomes the 2nd player from Canada to earn that award. Like Steve Nash, he won it twice back in 2004 and 2005. So to be in that conversation, it also speaks volume. As well as he become the 3rd player to win the award in OKC Thunder history, joining KD and Russ. So to be in that category with those, Thunder greats, that speaks volumes as well. So nonetheless, bro, SGA, he was my pick last season and going to this season. And, just glad he got recognized for his amazing play. So shout out to him.
Yeah, it is funny, man, because, this postseason, you're starting to see the hater brigade build up for SGA. And
that is true.
Honestly, I understand it. As an Embiid fan, I watch people disrespect Embiid constantly after he won MVP. He obviously gets to the free throw line a lot. It seems to be what a lot of great players do to get to the point totals they get to. I think it's just funny, man, because I'm starting to see it across Twitter, specifically X. A lot of SGA hate. I'm getting texts to my different group chats of, man, SGA is hard to watch. It's very, very interesting, man. It's very interesting to me.
Yeah, it is, though. I took a break from X, so I wouldn't know. So I haven't been on X in about a week now. So who's to say when I'm ever getting back on X?
Hey, it leads us to the conversation, which is the Western Conference Finals currently happening. Yeah. Coming off the MVP announcement, SGA goes out, scores 38 points, 8 assists, 12 for 21 from the field, 13 for 15 from the free throw line, ultimately taking advantage from the stripe, of course. OKC comes away with the 118-103 win at home. They go up 2-0 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yeah. How are we feeling, man? We're looking at this series, the way it's transpiring. You have the MVP announcement, so that gives OKC a little bit more inspiration going into last night. But how are we feeling right now with the series where it's at? Any takeaways from last night's game?
Well, I will say this, like, number one, no doubt about it. Like, Julius Randle, he struggled. Like, this was probably his second bad game during this whole playoff run.
Yeah.
And I think to close it out, he was out there. I don't know if I'm wrong about that. I
He,
don't. Yeah,
well,
he was.
I wanted to ask you about that since you brought it up. Do you think that, like, I don't know, I just thought that was a little bit of overkill. I think he could have played in the fourth quarter. He did not play at all in the fourth.
I agree. He should have been out there because, I'm being honest, like I said, that had to been for sure. Like, I want to say his second worst game during this run. Like, I don't just remember him having like a bad game. Like, he probably had one in that Lakers series, but other
It
than that, bro,
depends, because his bad games look different ways. Like last night, he only took 11 shots, so like he had a bad game. He only made 3, but then he has the other bad games where he'll shoot 20 shots and only make 5. Like that's, I guess, the difference of Julius Randle bad games. But
yeah. But no, like my one of my takeaways, that was for sure it. Like maybe, to your point, just leave him out there and try to let him figure it out. I don't think he deserved to get benched for the last 6 minutes or whatever the case may be. So,
the whole fourth
sometimes
quarter, the whole fourth quarter, bro, he did not come back out after the third quarter.
that is
Ant
crazy to me.
Ant didn't start the fourth quarter, but he came in with about 7 or 8 minutes to go. And the unit that was on the floor, they had got the lead down to like 15 or 13 because it was up at like 24 going into the fourth.
Yeah,
And Ant came back in. Julius Randle did not touch the floor.
that's tough. Yeah, I definitely think he should have been out there. I mean, you gotta let these guys play through their mistakes, or even if they're struggling, just leave them out there. But
Yeah.
anyway, you mentioned Anthony Edwards. He did score 32 points, but it took him 26 shots to get that, so that's not good.
Yeah.
They did get some help. Jaden McDaniels, 22 points. Nikhil Alexander Walker, 17. So those guys definitely stepped up from game one, for sure. But my main takeaway from that game, I have to say Lou Dort and Jada, like they helped, anchor that defense. Like overall, they helped Minnesota shoot the ball to 41% shooting from the field. So it kind of speaks volumes right there. Like those guys, they got named to the all defensive teams. They probably took pride in that. So
Yeah.
yeah, but overall, bro, like OKC definitely has to be better closing out games because the way Minnesota was starting to get back in the game, that was just not a good look for sure. Like especially like when you're in the playoffs like that. Look at a team like New York to be exact. Like we all know how that game ended. It shouldn't have ended that way. Luckily, SGA kind of led those guys to the promised land. So
Yeah.
yeah, but that was my main takeaway. Though. I'd say like their defense, it was huge, man. Lou Dort, J Dub, Chet, all those guys.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this whole series so far, the first 2 games, they've showed their defensive prowess. They look like they're the best defensive team in the NBA. I know the metrics say that coming out of the regular season, but they really do look like it. They fly around. They don't leave others hanging. They're very aware of their surroundings, when to double team, when not to, when to have help defense. And then you just have individual defense at every level. Like Hartenstein gets after it, Chet gets after it, SGA obviously gets after it, J-Dub gets in passing lanes. You got little bulls coming off the bench in Casey Wallace and Alex Caruso. So
Isaiah Joe, like the list goes on and on.
They honestly, it's weird because I guess like them going against Denver and the way they looked, especially in the first 2-3 games of that series. I mean, it went 7. They went 7 with Denver. And I guess it made me question OKC a little bit, just in the sense of like, are they clearly the best team in the NBA? Are they the championship favorites? But when you start to look back at it, it was just a great series from Jokic, a great series from Aaron Gordon. You had a couple games mixed in there from playoff Murray, right? And you start to look around, and this OKC team just looks once again like the clear favorite. Like I would pick them over anyone right now. And I'm seriously wondering, Slim, like
Come on,
I
man,
don't think the T-Wolves are gonna go winless, but like gentleman sweep, like 4-1, like is that
okay?
am I tripping?
No, you're definitely not. I mean, me and you talk about this off the book, like, bro, you have to get one of those games on the road. The reason I say that is because it's
Yeah.
hard for me to look at this OKC team and be like, they're finna go on the road in Minnesota place and lose
Two in a
like
row.
two in a row. Like they're going to
Right.
get one of those games. Like
Right.
that's a fact. I promise you, they're going to get one of those
Right.
games. So, to your point, maybe a gentleman's sweep at best, maybe in six. But hey, you had your opportunity, so you kind of blew it.
Yeah, I do agree, man. I think you needed to grab one of these games in order to have a chance to win the series, right? Like you can make it competitive, sure, if you go back and handle business. But I did want to discuss one other thing. Around SGA, he comes out, he has the 38, 8 assists, efficient night from the field. He gets to the
Was
free throw line. Then you have Ant on the other side, and you mentioned it. He has 32, but it's on
22
bad
shots.
shooting. He was chucking some shots up, especially early. And I saw this tweet from Kevin O'Connor, and I thought it was interesting. He basically said, "You look at Ant, you look at SGA last night in that game, and you see the development that is to come for Ant Edwards. Like SGA is a level above Ant Edwards, despite Ant Edwards' natural abilities, right? His athleticism. He's a freak of nature. But I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Like, what do you see? Like, how much separation do you see between SGA and Ant right now? SGA being the MVP and Ant being a guy that's taking his team to back-to-back Western Conference Finals trips.
Man, that's a great question, bro. I will say this, like, I don't want to disrespect either one of those guys,
Yeah,
but with SGA being MVP, you have to kind of give him that nod a little bit
yeah,
more higher than Ant. And,
yeah,
like I said, no disrespect to Ant. We all know what Ant is capable of doing. Like you say, he just led these guys to the conference finals in consecutive years.
yeah.
For a young fella to do that, that speaks volumes,
Not
of
easy.
him. Yeah, it's definitely not easy, especially in the Western Conference to be exact. But no, man, I will say this though. I think SGA definitely got levels above Ant. Like the way I look at it, like Anthony Edwards, he settles too much, and you can kind of blame the way the roster's constructed. Like you got Rudy out there, it's kind of hard to just get downhill all the time.
It's
He's
fair.
clogging the paint up, so he kind of has to shoot a lot of jumpers. But when you look at a guy like SGA, man, he's just so poised under pressure. He get to the midi, get to the free throw line. Obviously,
Yeah,
the game on the line. Though, I think I would want to give it to SGA if I'm being honest, just because I know he can get to his spots. Just about on
yeah.
anybody. Like the way he's touring around with Jaden McDaniels right now is just it just says a lot. But you got your work cut out for you trying to go at a guy like SGA, especially
Yeah,
considering the fact that he has a elite whistle. You can
yeah,
barely touch him. He's getting to the free throw line.
yeah.
So, but yeah, man. Like I say, no disrespect to Ant, but SGA he is up there for sure.
I do have to agree with you, and I think it's interesting just because I was thinking from the other perspective of like I was watching last night and thinking, yeah, if Ant had what SGA has, right, which is just
Mhm.
maturity and reality of his game, like SGA
Oh, it's
just has
just so
a mature game.
okay.
If Ant had that, what does Ant look like? That's where my mind was at. But I do agree. I think me saying that just shows where SGA is at currently. It's somewhere that Ant should strive to get to, and that's just the patience, the maturity in the game, the decision making, playmaking wise, right? Like I don't know. It's like when I think about Ant's game, what are his spots?
Right.
He can do everything. It's not to say that he can. It's just like, what is his go-to
I feel
shot?
you on that. Yeah. It's a pull up three for
SGA is
sure.
getting in the lane.
Yeah, SGA getting to it, like anywhere in the mid range, bro.
Yeah,
That's his spot. Like,
and it's
he's getting it.
automatic.
Yep.
So we'll see where it goes. Game 3. That's going to be this weekend. Where do you think Game 3 goes? Who gets that dub?
I think Minnesota may bounce back. No promises though. Although I wouldn't be shocked if OKC gets it. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like this team is just that good, so I
Yeah.
wouldn't be shocked.
No, I feel you. In Minnesota, they looked like really frustrated at the end of this past
I mean, I
game. You
will say
saw
this
J
though.
Mac.
I will say this.
Yeah,
You alluded to this on the last pod. If I'm keeping it honest here, bro, they do get some questionable calls. No, seriously, like
they do. They
because when
do.
I look at a guy like Jaden McDaniels, what is he supposed to do?
Yeah,
Like obviously SGA, his whistle is elite. I just allude to that. But it's like still though, bro. Like you can't even just touch SGA. He
yeah,
just been to the free throw line. Like
yeah. And
he
that's my
cooking
thing.
guys like
When I have to watch Ant go down at the other end, just get completely like
obliterated.
bodied in the air, like he's taking contact and
Obliterated.
like altering and finishing, and no calls. It's like what do we want to see as referees? We want to see Ant like falling over flimsily. Like is he not supposed to be strong attacking the rim? Is that how he gets calls? Is just by being flimsy and like flailing? Like it's almost like, is that what you're promoting? He has to sell the call. Like just call the call. That's all I ask. Is like some of the fouls on SGA, they are fouls, but let's just call it that way for everybody else too. But I don't know. I do think OKC, they are the number one defensive team, so I think that comes with a reputation. So maybe they just get away
Yeah.
with a little bit more. But yeah, they play physical, to say the least. We'll see what it's like in Minnesota. I do think Minnesota can get a W. I think this is the one that they have to get. You get back to Minnesota, you have your crowd. Maybe Dante DiVincenzo can give you like a 4 or 5 3-pointer game. I don't know.
It's been
Nas Reed, give me something.
Him, bro. It's been tough for Dante, bro. Like all postseason long, he's been struggling.
Yeah. And I think Nas Reed, he's frustrating me a little bit just because I feel like he can give more. But he's another guy that just looks really frustrated out there right now.
Yeah.
Something else, man. Rudy Gobert, I know we talk about him all the time, but he just can't be used as a lob threat. Like I see on the other end, like Hartenstein catching alley-oops and Chet catching alley-oops. But Rudy Gobert,
it's because he don't wants to be used as a lob threat. Like,
right.
Demand the ball. Say, hey man, I'm setting you the screen, go to the rim, lob me that. You just sitting there, bro. Like
it's just interesting, man. Like no pick and roll, none of that. Like interesting. But we'll see what the T-Wolves can do in game 3. I think they could get like one of those fluke W's where you think they're back and then game 4 they get trounced and you come back down to earth. But we'll see. Indiana and New York, that game 1 was electric. You have one of the most iconic classic photos that you will ever get from Tyrese Halliburton, mimicking the infamous Reggie Miller choke sign in the Garden. Indiana comes away with a 138-135 win. What did you see? What are your takeaways out of this one, man? How did you get it that fast,
bro? It's only right. I had to get it made, bro. You see it.
How the hell did you get it that fast,
red, man? You see it, bro. You see it, man.
That's insane.
Though, man. Like I gotta give Aaron Nesmith. I mean, bro.
Yeah.
Like you talk about not giving up. Like the Knicks was up, like what, 14 points? Like it was like about 3 minutes to go. And Nesmith, bro, just was hitting threes left to right. Like he was just knocking them down. So to me, he has to get a ton of credit. But Tyrese Halliburton, he got it done. He was like the closer, He thought it was a 3. That's why he did the choke thing or whatever. But it was a 2. But luckily for him, it bounced in there because, it wasn't a guarantee it was going in. But I will say this, though. Tyrese Halliburton, I don't know if he did his research on doing this choke silly. But I must remind him that, you know what happened the last time Reggie Miller did that, though, right? They didn't win another game in that series.
Yeah.
They didn't. Like when they played against...
I watched it, bro.
When they played against Spike Lee and them back in 1994, bro, they didn't win another game like they did. So you got to be very mindful of things like that. So, but no, man, just the togetherness of this team. Like, Nesmith had his moment. Nimhard. Tyrese Halliburton closed it out. Even Obi Toppin, he redeemed himself. He had missed a dunk in that game, but in the end, though, he redeemed himself. So, yeah, man, like, This is a huge loss for New York Knicks, but I'm not gonna lie to you because you had this game won. You was up 14 points with like 3 minutes to go, and you just blew it. No other way to look at that. Like, I will say this, like another thing. I do think fans are overreacting. It is one game, although y'all should have won this. I don't just feel like it's over quite yet. Like it's just one game because I'm seeing guys like Stephen A. Smith going on ESPN, kind of making it a big thing,
Yeah.
as well as New York Knicks fans in general. It's okay, bro. Y'all got a chance to redeem yourselves today. So it's not going to be easy because this Indiana Pacers team is young and they're hungry. So
Yeah, no, I think you put it in a good light. It's not the end of the world that you lose, but I think the fashion that they lost, and we were penciling this in as like a New York dub, like first game of the series. Doesn't matter as much about depth. It's more about, star power in that one game sample size.
mhm.
It was a big loss. They're gonna have to ultimately steal one back. The Indiana did
Yeah,
their job. They stole
yeah,
one.
exactly.
That's
That's all you
ultimately
want, bro. When you're on the
how you
road,
win
that's
the
all you
series.
want. That's all you want.
Exactly.
Still in one game.
Um,
So
I do think this game tonight will tell us a lot about the series because you go into that game and you end up in the high 130s, right? 135 to
mhm.
138. That's definitely where the Pacers want to be. Like they love playing that up tempo. They want to
Yeah, for
score the
sure.
rock.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you want to go bucket for bucket with them, they'll test the waters and see how far you can go out there.
Yeah.
And I think the Knicks, they got drug out to the deep end and they couldn't find their way back.
It's crazy,
And
man.
I want to see tonight, does it go that route again of this up tempo basket for basket type of situation?
Right.
Because that's just not where the Knicks want to be if they're going to want to compete with this Pacers team.
They
As the
shouldn't want to be
series
there.
goes on, it's only going to get worse. The tempo is only going to get more tiring for these five starters that are going to play 50 minutes a night for this team, right? The other thing, man, the other red flag that I have for the New York Knicks,
What you got for me, man?
the Pacers are attacking Brunson. And it's exactly what I thought looking at the matchup.
You
There
said
is
that. You said
nobody,
that.
there's nobody on the Pacers that you can hide Brunson on
Nobody.
defensively. You
Nobody.
put him on Nemhard, he's gonna attack him.
But
You
hold
put
up
him
though,
on
Dre.
Steve Smith,
Hold up though, Scotty.
he's
If
gonna
you think
attack
about
him.
it though, but wouldn't you live with that though? Like if you're in New York, you're going to live with that though, right? If Nemhard is getting off, opposed to Tyrese Halliburton or even Pascal.
Well, the problem in this game was that Brunson was getting switched on to Halliburton,
That
and then
is
Halliburton was
true.
even exploring his
That
bag off the
that is
dribble.
true. That is
And
true.
that's where things were going bad. And then you throw in the 5 fouls that makes Brunson have to tread lightly for an entire quarter and overtime. That's how you beat the New York Knicks. Put him on skates with fouls
Hmm.
and run the score up, right? I think for the
You're
Knicks,
absolutely
man,
right, man.
this score has to be down in like the 100 to 110s. You're not going to hold Indiana under 100. Like that's not happening.
Yeah, they got too
It has
many
to be in
weapons,
the
bro.
100 to 110s for them to compete. The other thing, man, bench scoring 31 to 17 Indiana. That's something that was
You
obviously a red
called, yeah, you
flag
called that out for sure. For
coming in.
yeah, you called it out.
That was a tough loss, but I do agree with you. The series is not over.
It's not over, bro. It's not
You have
over.
some promising things, right? Like Cat. Cat played really well in this game, right? He went off. He was playing confident. He rebounded,
Hmm.
scored 35 points.
Yeah,
I don't know. This game's going to tell me a lot tonight. New
yeah.
York's a 5.5 point favorite. How are you feeling going into game two?
I think the momentum is definitely on Indiana's side. I mean, like I said, they did their job. The goal is to always still win on the road, and they did that in great fashion. So that's why I say you have to commend a team like that because most
Yeah,
teams, being down close to 20 points with 3 minutes to go, you're just giving up, bro. You're not really playing hard for real.
it's a
But
good
they did
point.
not give up, and that just kind of speaks to the volume, like the testament of that team. Like they want this, like they want to
Yeah.
get to the finals, and it's just not that give up mentality. So have to commend those guys on that. But I will say this: I think that New York knows what's at stake here because if you lose this game, going back home, I mean, going on the road against the Pacers, man. you got your work cut out for you, man. You
Yeah,
really do. So in saying that, this
yeah,
is like a must-win scenario for the Knicks. So I think that the Knicks get this game, man. They know what's at stake here, like I just said. I expect them to, if they do have a lead like that again, to kind of just hold it down, not let it go. But we'll see, man. This Indiana team has been proving a lot of people wrong this season, man, for sure. Tyrese Halliburton was labeled the most overrated player in the league. That is just baffling to me. Like, that is just crazy.
yeah.
To even make a statement like that. Like, he's the most overrated player in the league. But nonetheless, I think New York bounced back tonight, bro.
Yeah, no, I think you bring up a great point regarding Indiana's resilience. I mean, they've showed it over throughout the postseason. They showed it in round one against Milwaukee with like under a minute to go. They did it the last round in that big Donovan Mitchell game against Cleveland. Halliburton hits the game winner in that one.
Yeah.
And they get back to this one. You have Aaron Nesmith hitting 5 straight threes
5 straight
in
threes,
the
man.
fourth quarter. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It is Reggie Miller like, right?
Yeah.
Halliburton comes through at the end. He hits a three mixed in there as part of that comeback, and then he ultimately hits the game tying shot at the end. Just a magical bounce on the rim as well. It just kind of shows you where they're at. And to your point, the Pacers could have given up with 3 minutes to go down,
Yeah, easily.
however much they
Easily.
were down.
Easily, man.
Um,
Easily.
it does beg the question, was it a choke job or was it just the Pacers hitting the most clutch shots in a row that you could ever imagine? Because Neesmith
Um,
wasn't wide open. He was hitting these
no, he
shots
was not. He
off
was not.
balance,
He
leaning.
was not.
But I
He
will
was not.
say, Brunson, Cat, they took some very bad shots to round out that game. They were taking outside shots. Cat was taking 3-pointers that were about 3 feet behind the 3-point line. And I saw OG kind of getting on Cat towards the end of that game on the
As he
bench.
should. As he
Yeah,
should.
so
As he should.
they got to
As he
bounce
should.
back tonight. I'm with you. I do think the Knicks bounce back. They have to win this game at home tonight. And I think they do. I think this series still does go 6 or 7 games. The Knicks just have to steal one in Indiana now to right the wrong.
Yeah.
It's a demoralizing game, though. This game will tell us a lot.
Yeah, it will though. I will say this though, bro. If New York loses series, bro, it's time to have that conversation about Cat because it's so funny to me. Like before I started back posting on TikTok, bro, the last video I posted was last year when they was in the Western Conference Finals, the T Wolves versus the
Yeah.
Mavericks. And dude, you drilled Cat on that video, bro. It was just so funny to me. But no, man, it is time to have a conversation about him. It really is. So, but we'll see how things go, bro.
It's interesting, right? Where Cat and Julius Randle were maybe just a week or so ago, right? They were at the top of their games. Back-to-back conference finals trips for Cat. Julius Randle out there contributing, maybe the best player for Minnesota in that Warriors series.
Mm-hmm.
Now they get here. We're only 1 to 2 games into each series, but the script has flipped a little bit. I will say, Cat 35 and 12 in the first game, so not necessarily his fault, but once again, bad shots down the end. He has to be subbed off for Mitchell Robinson for defensive purposes.
That's crazy.
It's not the greatest
Him
look.
and Brunson though.
Him and Brunson get subbed off for defensive purposes, which is nuts. We'll see how tonight goes, man. I'm going to go with the Knicks as well. We'll see if they can cover that spread. Anything else before we get out of here today? Happy Friday, my man.
That's pretty much it, man. Just enjoy the hoops, man. We're getting close and close to the offseason, man. I know you can't wait for that, man. It must be good to be a Sixers fan, y'all.
Nah, man. As much as I need the offseason for the Sixers, as much as I need next season for the Sixers, it's so boring over the summer, bro. No sport. There's sports. There's baseball, but I'm not the biggest baseball fan, bro.
I understand. Well, you just gotta enjoy it while you can. So that's what I say, man. Just make sure you guys tap into the rest of the games that's left.
Yes, sir.
It's going to go by quick. The NBA Finals will be here in no time. So
yeah.
But no, man, that's pretty much it on my end, bro. You kind of close it up.
Bet. Well, you heard the man. If you have not already subscribed to the NBA to the Galaxy Pod YouTube channel, please do that. Turn the notifications on so you're notified each and every time we go live.
Sure.
Next week, we will be back with our live shows. I know we did 2 pre-recorded shows this week. We'll be back on our live grind with the viewers, with the commenters next week, getting further into these conference finals. If you have not already given my man Slim a follow, go follow him on X at RTR30111. You can find myself at Scotty Drown, and you can find the pod at To The Galaxy Pod. That's on X and TikTok. That's going to be it for this episode. Everybody, have a great weekend. Happy Memorial Day. It's Memorial Day weekend.
Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Yeah.